I'm gonna say one of the experts on antique fishing tackle. I'm very excited to learn more about this. It's not something that I really know a lot about, but every time I pass it as this display, I am just mesmerized by it. So, Jim, I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you for being here.
Now I'm looking forward to what I'm going to do. I'm not sure yet.
Honestly,
We'll see about this, okay? Because we've never done it. Well, I'll start out with, I started liking fishing was a long time ago. And it was only because of one thing that really kind of kicked me in was an auction. I had been around looking, never really knowing, but there was a Greencastle at the fairgrounds in the big arena there, cattle arena. There was an auction for a guy who had all his fishing stuff there. And I went out there and I was amazed how many people were there looking at the lures. But the guy's lures were all wormies. Out West Walnut Street, you go out there and he had a little place to put on the side. He sold night crawlers down West Walnut Street, just past the entrance to the park. But when I saw everybody out there, then I went and got books. I've got a big book I hear. I've got like dozens of books at home. But I just swear by the books. But the knowledge is there in the book. And talking to people at lure shows. But then the book is any book that comes out like this on anything, like pottery or anything. When the book comes out, it's already 5 years old. So you can't go by the prices yet. That's because it takes 5 years to get a book out. But the reference and everything, but on lures, a lot of them is the condition, the company, and the color. Let's see where start. Let's start over there with the Sonics. When I was starting out, those were the cheapest ones I could buy because they were all going on the internet. The internet's one of the best prices on lures. So I wanted to know prices on lures. I did that probably, Emma could tell you, I probably did it for a minimum of 10 years. Every day, an hour and a half every day. Anyhow, going and studying prices. I'd look at a lure on there and I would study, see what it is. I knew it was a good lure. Then I'd put it on watch. And then I'd see what it sells for. That way I would know what it's selling for to the world. That way I knew my prices, because then I go look at a book and the book's not even close. So, but the Sonics, they started out with them because they were in my range, $5, $10. But as time goes on, people started collecting, and then you look to odd colors. And there's some really dynamite colors. And I had a friend over in Missouri, Jim Buchanan. He was one of the major Sonic collectors. And he brought his display to the show one time. And I went over and looked at it. Then I saw him coming up. I said, "Hey, Jim, you need to get the paper towels. Somewhere in the case over there." He goes, "Well, what is it?" I said, "Well, I'm sorry. I drooled all over them." Or me clean the case out. But like the ones at the top, like with the chevrons, those are really, really tough. And you drop down, there's that red, white, blue checkerboard and the black one underneath the checkerboard. Then the checkerboard's over here. The checkerboard, the red, white, blue one there, I've always seen 3. And that's one right there. The checkerboard's over here. The hightail and the Sonic were given to the Holman family by heading out of dual wedge missions. You give to the complimentary gifts to the upper people at the race. And everybody got one. And these all, a lot of men at that back at Terre Haute at the home of the family. And the hightail's a super tough color, and the checkerboard on top. But I got them in the box. That makes it another step. So now colors, you want to know when you look at it, condition, color, and everything, is you don't want a bunch of check marks on them, bunch of paint. Every time a hook gets on there, it's called a point mark. And every time you get a point marker, it goes down in price. So a lot of guys, they wrap them up with cotton. They got like medical tubes that you put on there, little clear tubes. And that's, I mean, those were cheap ones to find. They were for me, but not really. $5.
Now wait, they talk about the head and the Indy one that were cheap to find at a yard sale for $5. Oh, why did you sell it?
Well, okay. Well, Jack Leslie, Tom here, he's a collector. And we were at a Lawson's in Danville. And out back at the back, there's a big 5-gallon barrel there, and there's a bunch of lures on there. And there was 2 of the checkerboard honeytails on there, or Sonics on there. And Jack and I kind of bumped head before that. He always thought I was running him up on prices. Now I'd get out, and he's still going to $100. So, yeah. But like, he always thought, I looked over his shoulder, I said, hey, Jack, how you doing? He goes, hey. He goes, I said, you looking at those twins there? He goes, yeah. I said, so am I. He goes, I got 300 in my pocket. And I said, I got a little more than that, Jack. Dude, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll bid on, and I'll put one in my, and put them one in one hand, one in the other, put it behind my back. This one's got a little mark. And then you pick which hand we win it. I said, okay. Well, we won the bid, and I picked the hand. I got the good one. I did. But I paid him $5 for a $500 lure that day. So, yeah, that's what they were going for. They're still going real high. That checkerboard hightail or sign. But like there were 2 of them on there, and he got one, and I got one for $5. So that's the fun. And like anybody who collects anything to hunt, anybody mushrooms, fish, it's going that one more time is you got to do it. The Sonics down here on the board, that's an original dealer display what we shipped in, and that's out of 1953. These are all just different basic Sonic heads through here. These are the zigzags, and here's her mouse. A crazy part of the mouse is swims like that. And I got one here. That box. See, you see man before, like there, and he was like, that's how they swim. That's got the mouse tail. Back here are the reels that had the bigger spools on, and this line, you always see different colors, but that's every foot's a different color. So if you go out and fish, you're down 3 feet, caught something, you go back to 3 feet every time. That way you know by the color you're on. But back in the days, your line, but it would come. I'm going to jump around a lot, I imagine. Your line would come. It would be cotton or silk. It would come on a wood spool, like that. And every night you went fishing, you went northern fishing or went out here fishing and go again, you'd have to take your line off the line holders. But you have to put the line out at night and let it dry. Because it was made out of separate cotton, they were rotten on you. So you put your line on here, then tomorrow morning you put your line back on. On the reel you go. Because you couldn't just go by. There's my son Michael coming in late.
They're all going to be my problem one day.
Don't write your stuff. But you had to do that back in the days. There's a lot more that go with fishing than there's just go with fishing. These are the same reels, but they designed some with the bigger spools on them, raised down for your rod. That way you would stay dry as you went on your fishing. Now these lures here are made in Jasonville. Jasonville, Indiana. B&W down there, they're blacksmiths. They shut down 1 month a year. They're not there anymore. He and his son both did it. They shut down 1 month a year, and make t-shirts. Which is pretty cool, but they need wood more than these are plastic here. That's Wookie Carmichael. He was really big into making bamboos and bamboo tying with the rods and that. The frog back there is a paw falls. We need 2 different sizes, and some of the legs are tied and some of them aren't. And actually, Maryland, their little leg on them, they sold them as fishing, fly fishing lures. Just the leg off the frog. There was the coat, yeah. These are the Ziptos. When Zippo, a long time ago, they used to make bomb sights for the bombers of World War II. When they quit making them because of the radar, Zippo went into making reels. This very first crossing on here is the very first style ever made. On on the foot here, it says zero bomb hour. I don't know if you ever seen that before. Okay, but like that's the very first style that they ever made there. You know, it says on the box zero bomb hour, then that's it, the 11, and then the 22, and then everybody knows the 33. They'll be fished with forever. This here is a minnow trap, last minnow trap. I'll be talking too fast, don't I? Hello, man. Okay. Figured you'd tell me. Oh. The last minnow traps, you would, out of the 20s and 30s and earlier, you take them, put them in the creek, but we didn't have seining nets back then. There's no way to catch minnows. But you would stand down there, and the minnows pulling this in, get trapped and couldn't come out. On that wheel now, I've got to tell you, figure it out. No pay one cash it. Yes, the custody you. That's your bird here. For your line. Okay, you ready to reel it in. You shut back in. Center. Tom's an expert on Zeptos. Yeah. They're like the Zepto reels. I've always he's a major collector on Zeptos. Tom does. He has like a museum. He lives down around Cataract. Well, I used to. Oh, you moved from there? I'm down south of Brazil, about 2 miles now. Oh, get rid of though. Yeah, I can get closer to the doctor in the hospital. Oh, okay. Yeah. But there's a guy, Rick Motorhide, over in Annapolis, Illinois. He actually had the show this weekend over in Effingham. They have a show over there. And he wrote the book on that. And he's got a collection to fill this place up. It just glass mirror effects. Wow. Some of them are green amber, red amber. Oh, they're just beautiful. I mean, you wouldn't want to put them in the water. I mean, they're put on a shelf. That's what they are.
What's their value now?
Well, this one here is a Shakespeare. And I'll put probably in the neighborhood of 175, 150, 175.
Where they've been new.
Probably about 350. Yeah. There's like the reels up there, $9.99. Yeah. But yeah, it's amazing. Well, even a lot of the big lures out the very bottom, they were all priced at $1.35 when the boxes and the eggs. Now, darn on, they still got tags on. The little bitty reel, brass reels. I didn't bring it. I was going to read the foot part of a rod where you mount the the reel onto. That's the foot for the reels. And this is a brass one that would go on a cane pole. And you could either tack it in or tape it on, I'll have it tacked on. And that way you could put a reel on your cane pole. Where you could reach out. That way you had extra line on. These right here are, that's a Yipsy. They northern Indiana, Yipsy, Indiana. They're a really good lure up in that area. These right here, the metal ones, are called Jumpin' Joes. Those are made out of tin. And they're a neat lure because they go down, they jump up. You go down, they jump up. You pull down, they jump up. And they're a good fun lure, like fish with. These back here are inners, they're made in northern Indiana. And they're very unique lure. They are. But like these are all the 20s. 1920s when these were made. Watch them look on that. But it spins in there and they're a neat lure. This is one of my favorite though, is the Twin Men. And it's Twin Men here. And it's made by Bidem Lure Company up in northern Indiana too, around Napanee. Those are neat little lures. 2 little bodies, they glue together and leave it that way. 40 years. A neat little lure there, aren't they? This is a stubby Danny Moss reel. Actually, should have stubby on it. But this is like for a lot of people canoes on them. Go like this or this away. Those are for your canoes too. But those have the spring. I'm in my canoe and I want to cast underneath that tree. I spring it to it. I don't throw it at it, I spring it at. I mean, fish stuff you gotta think about to paint it. Ice fish. Thanks for the comments, about.
You know, yeah. Yeah, got one.
All right.
Hello.
You wanted interaction. We're giving it to you.
This is a wooden reel. Saltwater. 9% would eat reels up. So they made them out of wood. Just because of salt water. This has the brass on it, which keeps it better. Salt doesn't get it as much. But wooden reels, yeah, back in the days, I mean, who would have thought? Yeah, but they had to wait, figured out what they did, mainly. Wood reels. This is just another reel. It could be go on a cane pole, but you mount it on the side. And the line comes out this way. Just another oddball side caster, it's called. I got this lure here. I brought it. There's a guy, Todd. Tom has fun, and he's actually giving them wood. Build the boxes. There's a guy in Columbus, Indiana. Todd, his name. Super big guy. Does all kinds of lures for people. And he comes down like the tops.
So
And he got the wood from there. No, he goes back. And he makes the boxes. They're just neat as ever. But here's the lure. It's the same as an old charmer lure that used to be made.
You're saying that's a new lure.
It's a brand new. Yeah. But yeah, I'll let you pick past that box if you want. But like, he's got a stories on the back of them. It tells everything. He brought the wood off of Tom down there, some of them. Yeah. This and that.
I didn't buy it. I gave it to her.
Or you gave it to me. Pay him a dick.
Well, we get you some boxes, Doc.
He tried to pay me for them. I could. You got a truckload. That'd be enough. I said, nah, big ball. I don't have to burn now. So,
Yeah, he's a talented person. Yeah, he is. And he makes them for a lot of different people. Now, this rod here is a special rod, I think, because it was made at the end of World War II. It's a Hudley made in Detroit, Michigan. I got the leather case for it too at home. But this rod were made for your executives in Detroit. In the 36 through 4, this rod and reel was going for $250. And one of the neat things about this rod is World War II again. Another end of the era, the Sherman tank had antennas. This is a Sherman tank antenna. So it's kind of neat. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't break that. And I'm glad you didn't eat. Best friends. But yeah, this is just it's a Cadillac of a reel. It's all made into the rod and everything. That's walnut. I don't know if you want to pass that or not. Yeah. But yeah.
How much is that worth, though?
Right now, they're still around $250. Yeah. Now, I thought anytime I want to sell a couple, I can sell them. I mean, yeah, you don't see them too much, but they're old black rods. Now, there was a company up there, what do we call it? In Detroit, all their rods were chrome. And the where the reels are now, they were all chrome. And they were just pretty rods. And they had handles on it, all different colors and everything. They were different. Now,
Eats in there.
over periods of time, when we would go to buy stuff, we needed hooks, we needed sinkers. Back first of the days, you're getting hooks, you'd go to your hardware store. And 9 times out of 10, he'd give you a seed bag, little paper bag. And there'd be a little thing like this, cardboard generally. And you go over there, pick out how many hooks. I want 3 number 2s and 2 number 4s. Then you go up there and you pay him. And that was probably about 10 cents there you'd have to pay. But he would put them all in that before they came in containers. And then later on, containers came about. It came out with your simple 5-part thing here where your hooks are. And that way you had them like that. And then they came out with the wooden ones. Little did these, they made millions of these little containers, different size hooks. They're all marked on the end, but they're all little hooks on the inside. That's how you would have carried your hooks or dog that way. There were different size hooks and different things. They're all worked on the end. And then after that, we would go to the boxes. Then you would go to the Fluger boxes. We're still doing hooks. So, like here's the different sizes of them. That would be different sizes of boxes of hooks. Like the little bitty hooks. They're very big. And then after World War II, they started going to metal. So all your hooks were put in metal then. And your sinkers were used to be in paper too, and plastic, or steel. Most of them were plastic. Then they want you all the metal ones. And I don't have very many, because there's people who collect everything. The line dryers, there's a guy in Michigan, southern Michigan, probably has 250 of them. And they're all different. Some of them are delicate, hardwood, beautiful pieces of things. They are. But they're just that many different types of line dryers. I mean, the shaker boxes, these are just a little bit of variety of them. The best one in here is one down here. And it's not real good shape. It's called a crazy coon. But on the back,
Likely correct, neither.
no, crazy coon. But on these here, the ideal ones, and some of the really J.C. Higgins on the back were politically incorrect, because he would say on the back, take a boy fishing. Back in the days, he's all set, take a boy fishing. So, but back in the days, they did that. Okay, you got your outboard motor. You got to go fishing now. First ones came in glass. Your outboard motor. First ones. But I've got a pretty good little collection of oil cans. But this one here, some of them are pretty neat because the guys were thinking of me. When I went to pour this, I didn't know how to pour it. But on the back, we got level gauges. Where you can go to here, you know how much you're going to pour out. All right. They were thinking.
Yep, he will see it through the can.
Pardon?
If he could see through the can.
Yeah. These are fruiter baits, or pelican baits. I brought them. They're just a northern bait too. They're made up northern Indiana. They're just another neat lure, ska lure. They're a good bass walleye lure.
Are they still in business?
No. They've been out of business probably 50 years. Yeah, South Bend there. There's your fruiter box right there. Now, back in the days, ordered a bunch of those reels and I ordered some hooks and things. They would all be shipped to me in this box. But I'd have to ride the horse and the buggy down to the railroad station to pick them up. Because these were all before cars. I'll need to beat them out too. I carry 2 spoons with me. Because people are curious when fishing stuff started. And reels document from, I belong to the National Fishing Lure Collectors Club. it's a good organization. It's not a monster or anything. It's all fishing stuff. You can't bring anything except fishing stuff. And they bring in stuff that's just unbelievable at it. These are spinners. I'm going to pass them around. And on one side, they would be like that long. And it'd be a long wire, brass wire. And then come back and it'd be spinner here, where it'd go around the wire, it's spun, and then go back a little bit further into a treble hook that would have like guinea feathers on it. A lot of guinea feathers back in the days. But if you look on the side here, it says GM Skinner. Oh, you do that one. And on the other side is the patent dates are 1874, Canada and U.S. So those would have been delivered by Course 10. That's before cars. That's what amazes me. Metal baits are so many of them. These are a few. Everybody, I don't know if it's on Andy there or not, but I don't think it is. Winchester, I have Winchester baits, lures, spinner baits. They made a lot of spinner baits. And they're a good price lure, spinner. Winchesters are. And these are just some I have in a case that are just different. Now, but some of them, like this one right here, if you look, it's got an eye on, little bitty eye up here, stamped in. And but some of these, like it's called the turkey toe, so it's a sand feather is called, and something else. They're all probably $200-300 metal baits. Yeah.
You're on
Pass that.
bird.
Now this reel is one of them dryers. This one's Doc Stamper made this, put this together. Old Doc Stamper. One of the many things he did. This has the dirt door lock, but if you look at the eyes, they're not straight. They go around the rod. Because guys told me that they figured out some guys with a shorter rod, it makes the rod a lot stronger by going around the rod. You're using the whole rod instead of just the eyes. So, makes sense?
This and that, that's an interesting.
What else we come up?
Exactly would make sense. It makes sense.
Well, for the in-law,
Now, there's one lure that was made in Perrick, Indiana. It was called the 3-in-1. And the guy was out fishing. He made them down there. He had the whole mold kits and everything. And he went out fishing one time and he realized that those bass were going after the lightning bugs. So he went and developed a clear lure like this. This isn't one of them. And that you can take apart, put your minnow or bug in there, your lightning bugs, and fish with that. Oh, you cast out, there's the lightning bug out there. The bass will go after it. But if the only lure that I know Greencastle produced it, or had a produced lure, because they traded all the equipment to make it to up here on the corner where Keener's is now. It was Sherman Key. He traded all his stuff and some cash for a new Alice Chambers tractor. And the McKee family, they don't know where it all went. So that's all I know about that. But that's the only one I know traced back to Greencastle.
that's about the honest one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to all that moldy cats. I like that. But then again, you got to think about lures and things, and I don't know, a lot of them have all related incidents. Who else would come up with that idea?
Wait, you made it to 6:30.
Did I? Okay, good. Any questions or anything? Oh, yeah.
So you had your lures, freshwater lures.
90%, yeah.
Okay, and then I know collectors will collect different lures because they're rare. Which ones work the best?
Work the best?
Yeah, have you used them to fish?
I have used to use old ones, but I tell you my best. I like a little cotton cordell, little beagles. That's my one lure. The second best lure, but I already can verify this, is locust. The locust. Bugs. We had a pond when we lived out south of town. Locusts were real bad, wherever worked. I got a cup, put some in it. We went down to the pond for about half an hour. She caught 3 bluegill, 2 bass, and a catfish on locusts.
A real live one.
So you can't get too used to you.
But there's a little very sinker right there. I'll be waiting as they slowly go down. They're still buzz, and the bass just eat them up. But like, I don't know. I like the zigzags myself. The ones down to the bottom on the right. If you're going to do bass fishing, I like them. I really do, because it's kind of like the popper in a way, but wiggles to it's a surface base. Those are good. Yeah, and the BMW baits, they're good ones. Because they're real buoyant. Yep. But the Sonics, a yellow one of them on a sunshiny day, little clouds, are good depth. Yeah. Well, yep.
Hey, Dia, that checker's red checker, Sonic, who was that made for?
It was just the odd one they put together, like the red, white, and blue, Tom.
I was wondering if they just made it for somebody.
I've never heard. I never heard. Ever. No, I mean, it's just, there's not too many of them around.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah. But it, boy, these up here, these are all creek chub, made in Garrett, Indiana. These lures, there's some plastic in there. The majority are wood. And a little thing too, if you're out collecting, just because it's got glass eyes doesn't mean it's worth a lot of money. As I set up 30 years over here to cover bridge, and I had $5 glass eyed lures. That's what they were worth. They're not worth any more than that, beat up or whatever. But yeah, I mean, people, they throw off and try to glass eyes worth a fortune, but they're not. And it depends upon the color and the condition of every lure too, as it goes. But like Creek Chub they've made a little bit of everything similar to the Head Company on a dual watcher. And they have a good variety of lures, and their lures have all maintained their prices pretty darn good over the years. This one back here, it's on the side. It's got a little B marks, hash marks, another line. That's into World War II. That's a victory lure from World War II. It says, and that Morse code says victor. Or one, that says one, and Morse code on the side. So, yeah. Go ahead, Vicky. I have a question. Oh, sorry.
I have a question. I have a couple questions, but wasn't in here when you very first started talking, but could you just say a little bit about why you collect lures and what made you?
Why I collect them? Interesting. I mean, there's so many of them for one thing. But then again, I started realizing they're collectible items. It's like a knife, gun, or anything else. They're collectible. Then I started studying them. I got the book and this and that. And I started studying what prices work. And then I started looking for those.